to this jubilant world of exuberance of Sokari Douglas Camp, Jonkonnu Masquerade. So a special welcome to the artist, Sokari Douglas Camp. And to her gorgeous daughters, Inina and Rie, who are here with her. Thank you for coming, Paul. So there I was, a young gallerist in 1985. And I was seeking an exhibition, and I often visited the Royal College of Art, where Elisabeth was found doing gigantic, beautiful paintings. So there I was, and I saw a vision, which I will never forget, of a beautiful woman in welding gear, in a helmet, and with a torch in her hand, welding a huge bed for her father, who was the chief who had passed away. And beside this bed were 4 beautiful women waving handkerchiefs. This piece will be indelible in my mind, because that was her first show here in 1985. And now, here it is, 37 years later.
I see we have a moving microphone here. So I went to see Sokari's, one of my last visits to Sokari's studio, an extraordinary visit, was in December. And I went to visit Sokari's studio together with Melanie van den Broek, curator of sculpture at the Victorian Albert Museum. Now, we both were on completely different missions, but we united there. Melanie was going to look at the sculpture called Europe, supported by America and Africa. That is going to be hosted in the sculpture galleries of the Victorian Albert Museum this month. And I was looking for new work by Sokari Douglas Camp. So we found ourselves in different rooms, and I sneaked into one room which had a beautiful procession, such as this one, right in front of me. And I thought, oh my God, Sokari has curated a whole exhibition just for me. And when I saw this, I could just visualize what this exhibition here could look like. Even Jesus Loves Me, who you see in the back here, those 2 figures were doing their own dance in that gallery. So when we met later, again at the Victorian Albert Museum, at that time with Christine, who is curating this beautiful exhibition of African fashion, and with Melanie, the idea of an exhibition arrived. And we discussed it. And from that point forward, we were working on an exhibition to take place here. Now, it's always very interesting when objects arrive here at the gallery. I was a little bit late. I came here at about 11 yesterday, and a whole host of objects had arrived here. In fact, it looked like a huge carnival of things. We had boxes, we had crates, we had plinths, we had objects with heads missing. We had so many different things here in the gallery. It was a mountain of stuff, so to say. And I thought, oh my God, how are we going to do this? We got the opening tomorrow night. Thankfully, we have a great team, and they managed to remove all the boxes, all the crates and everything, and left the pure sculptures. And we moved them in place, we dressed them with their headdresses, we put the plinths in place, all the little sculptures that had gathered around that large sculpture like kittens suddenly found the other places in the room on the plinths. And within 2 or 3 hours, they all had magically found their places. Even I was surprised. It was glorious, Sokari. They all knew what they were going to do when I first visited that studio. They all had it imprinted. You had imprinted that in their mind, and they knew how to find their place. Thank you, Sokari, for this wonderful show.
Hugh Quarshie is an actor, and I'm so delighted to introduce him to you. Hugh is from Ghana, from Accra, and he made his When here in this country at a very young age, he was really a British Ghanaian born actor. And he has been very familiar to you in your lives, those who have watched him on television, in the theater, and on many other aspects of his life. 19 years he played the character of Rick Griffin in the BBC One medical drama Holy Sick. My most memorable roles of his are Mephistopheles and Othello. Hugh.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I'm just going to offer a few meditations on Sokari's work. When I told her I was going to come to the exhibition, she asked me to say a few words, and I couldn't effectively say no, so you're stuck with me, I'm afraid. The first thing I'd like to say is that, let's talk about Africa. No one knows where the name Africa came from. There are theories that it comes from the Phoenician word meaning dust, afar, I think, or from the Berber word, Ifri, meaning cave, or maybe it was just the Romans. It was Latin for that bit of land over there, the other side of the Mediterranean. that hasn't really stopped Africa being mythologized and being romanticized. It's common for people from Ghana, from Kenya, from Nigeria, from wherever in Africa to call themselves Africans. It's not so common for people from Italy, from France, from Germany to call themselves Europeans. Well, it wasn't until Brexit. But I have, in the past, referred to myself as an Afro-Saxon. That's to indicate that I'm not quite British, not quite African, and I reserve the right to designate myself as I please. You know, in those forms where it says, are you black British, black Caribbean, black Jewish, Jedi, or other. I suspect that even though she is a commander of the British Empire, I suspect that Sokari also enjoys this game of identity, hide and seek. And I think that I was rather struck by what I read, and when you said, and I quote here, Britishness may reside in the habit of going out into the world and adopting other identities. Now, it often feels, when you call yourself a black artist, that means that you accept that your work is defined and sometimes confined by the experience of oppression, by slavery, by colonialism, by resistance to it, and a hostile environment and pretty hotel. In my profession, I refer to trauma drama. You know, for example, the murder of Stephen Lawrence and the sequel, Stephen, in which I appeared. In music, the uncompromisingly jagged jazz fusion that Miles Davis produced after Kind of Blue. James Brown singing Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, and Linton Kwesi Johnson's protest poetry. In art, the unsettling graffiti-like canvases of Basquiat. You know, in literature, in David Diop's International Booker Prize winning At Night, All Blood is Black. But it's pretty clear to me that Sokari has moved beyond this into an exploration of consciousness and imagination. Her work is, as she says, I'm quoting here, a display of uncertainty and precision. I love that. I mean, her statement of intent that, again I'm quoting, I'm engaged in an inquiry into the real history of my existence. That resonates with me. For as the famous dead white male T.S. Eliot said, the past is altered by the present, just as the present is directed by the past. And I think that we can see in the Jonkonnu figures a new translation of old classics. The liberation of the imagination from historic shackles and the celebration of new forms, new ways of seeing, new ways of thinking. And her metal figures, and they are all figures of human form, that they flow and they dance. And though she claims not to be didactic, I think that these figures speak to us,
Yes.
and I think they teach us. So, well, I invite you to go and look, and go and listen, and decide for yourselves.
What can I say? I never know what to say, except thank you for coming. And this is my new start. Party starts here. At this late stage in my life, I now realise that I'm freer than I've ever been before. You know, I know more about myself, and I hope that this work kind of shows my freedom, really. Because although we are in uncomfortable times, I just feel an amazing energy. We have so much to give as Africans. You know, whether we're from the Caribbean or from the continent, we're all one, as my local folk tell me. You know, the man on the street that I was talking to said, well, I'm Jamaican, and he said, where are you from? And I said, Nigeria. And he said, we're all one. And I said, yes, we are. And that's what this show is about, is the discovery that masquerading happens in the Caribbean. And it so happened that at the beginning of my career, I made masquerades that were Kalabari, and they're echoed in the Jonkonnu drawings that I found on the internet during lockdown. And that excited me so much, because it's a history that we aren't told. It's a history that isn't necessarily researched, but it's there. And missing Carnival, I realised that, you know, all the cultures in London joined to celebrate this masquerading theme that was granted to folk in the Caribbean just for 3 days in the year, as a way of kind of slaves being able to celebrate. And that was a shocking bit of reality. But the thing is that, you know, Carnival is a multi-million thing, and all our children and we ourselves enjoy it every year, and with the pandemic we weren't able to. And I realised that I could make these characters and have them play in the gallery once we got out of the pandemic, and that has kept me going. And this work is also going to be outside the Design Museum for Kensington and Chelsea Art Week. And that starts, what's that? Yeah, two huge, sorry?
18th for the art trail.
18th
and
for the
23rd.
to the 23rd.
No, 23rd for the Kensington Chelsea week.
Okay, Kensington Chelsea Week. Anyway, they're outside the Design Museum, and it's Jonkonnu again, and it's just to celebrate the fact that we have this heritage and I have this power.